here to go more in depth on this subject, Stephen Bucci, director of the Allison Center for Foreign and National Security Policy at the Heritage Foundation. Stephen's also a former military assistant to Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld. Stephen, it is great to have you via Skype this morning from Washington. Now,
thanks for having me.
It's great to have you here, Stephen. I'm wondering the story behind the story. Secretary Kerry, going back to the Middle East, stepping in to, quote, assist the Egyptians alongside the UN. Is Secretary Kerry all that welcome back, especially in the eyes of the Israelis?
Well, if a few weeks ago I would have said absolutely not. He has been singularly unhelpful of late, but in these last few days, he's actually taken a very strong stand that is an accurate one, which frankly is putting the onus of this on Hamas and is recognizing that Israel really is just trying to defend itself.
And while the diplomatic maneuvers continue, we need to talk some about what is transpiring militarily. This is a situation that has proven costly for both sides. Reports as of this morning, more than 25 IDF soldiers killed. So Israel with casualties, Hamas with many more. What has been the principal difficulty for Israel? The number of tunnels that Hamas has utilized to get inside Israel?
Well, it's once they stop doing the operation with just air and other assets and put people on the ground, Gaza is a very concentrated population center. It's very, very difficult fighting. Urban fighting, as we've learned over the last few years in Iraq, for instance, is very difficult, can be very costly. Even if you're a lot better than your opponent trying to defend those very tightly packed areas has a lot of advantages, and unfortunately you lose some of the good guys.
Well, the ground assault continues on the part of Israel. What happens in terms of, I think Americans have this impression that Israel is, quote, united on this, but the political scene in Israel is pretty well polarized and fractured as well. How long can Prime Minister Netanyahu and the IDF continue this very aggressive push until there's some backlash, especially in the wake of the sacrifices made of the lives of so many IDF soldiers?
Well, a lot of it depends on what Hamas does. If Hamas starts to back off, if there are no more rockets coming, Netanyahu's going to have to wrap this up quickly and get out, or his people will say, hey, look, they stopped, we need to stop. Israel is not interested in reclaiming Gaza. It's not interested in fighting a day longer than it needs to, any of the people in Israel. But as long as Hamas continues to be aggressive, continues to assault Israel, and now they're talking about trying to extend the range of some of their rockets to hit more areas, I think Netanyahu's support will hold, obviously not completely. Israel is a very diverse democracy with lots of opinions, and there is some stirring against this operation already as more IDF soldiers are killed.
Stephen, you said earlier that Secretary Kerry is moving in the right direction, but there was some controversy over the weekend as he was caught on an open mic waiting to go on Fox News Sunday. The secretary apparently speaking sarcastically about the, quote, pinpoint operation of the Israelis there in the Gaza and saying he needed to get to Cairo. Given Kerry's background and the reticence of this president, do you think that Secretary Kerry actually had to go to President Obama to make this trip, or do you think the Obama administration was prepared to send the secretary there to Cairo?
I think the president probably was ready to send him. I mean, President Obama has no upside to this conflict continuing, regardless of who comes out on top in it. But you know, they're looking for foreign policy points. If they can contribute positively to resolving this without totally selling Israel down the river, it would be a positive thing for them. And they need some positive points with regard to foreign policy because they just have not done well of late. And the Middle East is a mess now because of their sort of wishy-washy policies. So if they can take a strong stand, for an ally, they may actually make some mileage here.
One country against whom the United States has not taken a strong stand is Iran. Do you believe the Iranians have a hidden hand in this? Have they been aiding Hamas? What's your take on that relationship, the Iranians and Hamas?
Well, I don't know if the Iranians have done anything of late in the last couple of weeks, but a lot of the materials for the rockets, a lot of the rockets themselves have all come from Iran. So they're a longtime ally of Hamas. They continue to be. But again, how much they're, pulling the strings and trying to provoke this thing to extend, we don't know. But they are not being helpful that anyone can notice, that's for sure.
Stephen Bucci, a minute left. Before we let you go, you touched on this a second ago. The situation in Israel, the resolve to go after Hamas. If we took a look at the calendar, how long do you think Prime Minister Netanyahu has? Another week, 10 days, 2 weeks to maximize this military operation?
I'd say if he had his preference, he'd like to wrap it up within a week. It may go to the 10 days. I don't think it'll last for 2 weeks. He doesn't want to be in there that long, and his people don't want him in there that long. So I'd say a week, maybe a little less, but could go up to 10 days.
Stephen Bucci, we appreciate your perspective on this. Thanks for checking in from the Heritage Foundation today.
Thanks for having me.
So you heard Stephen Bucci. He's been around this a long time. What's your take on what's transpiring between Israel and Hamas? Why don't you tweet us at Newsmax TV, #AmericasForum.